Hey guys, just a quick video. I just had some thoughts about therapy, and I had some people commenting. I do actually look every once in a while, and some guys were talking about therapy, and so I've been thinking about all my experiences with therapists. I haven't had much, but it's funny, isn't it, that when you don't have money, that's when you need a therapist, when you're really down. When I talk about therapists, I'm not talking about those NHS counselors or NHS CBT therapies. Sometimes you can actually, get in, because I was I was doing some psychotherapy in Kensington in London, and it was some kind of charity. And actually, I don't know how, but I got in, maybe through the doctor, or probably through my own. I spoke to maybe Samaritans, or I don't know how I got into it. I think they have some kind of rule whereby if you know one of the therapists there, then they stop your therapy, because a teacher that I'd known as I was a child and caused me a little bit of trauma. Then she went to work there, and I said, "Oh, I recognize her." Then my therapy was stopped after a few weeks. "Oh, we have to stop therapy now." And I did therapy for about 2 years, maybe, and it was supposed to go on for maybe 4 years or something. Yeah, I can tell you that story another time, but oh my goodness, yeah. So what I'm saying is, when you're down in the dumps, when you're really depressed, you don't have money, so you can't afford a good therapist. When you come out of it and you're in a good position, a good place, you don't need a therapist. It's weird, isn't it? And I'm not sure if I actually need a therapist. It's a chemical imbalance, it's a chemical problem. Let me explain. So, recently I didn't take a dose of my medication, and I felt quite tearful, quite negative, and I didn't really feel that well, and everything looks so grey. Well, it is actually grey today as well. And I've had a few setbacks. My wife saying that, giving me the bad news that I was I was expecting £100 a week. That's what I usually get for myself and the dogs, and she's brought it down to 60, because now I'm getting some donations. She thinks it's going to last, but she's immediately cut down the money that I have. And so, usually if you're not depressed, you would think about it and you try to, sort the problem out. You would problem solve, and instead of, as people say, whining. But it's not really whining. It's actually the truth. Feel down. So I was thinking, I know what I'm like when I'm on medication, and problems seem to not vanish, but you can manage problems easier. And so what happened, for example, I would have seen it in a different way. I would have thought, okay, that's the situation. How do I how do I solve this problem? But that doesn't happen when you don't have the mental resources, when you don't have it's like you don't have the capability to see things positively, and so you start to think negatively. It's like that downward spiral. So I suppose my question is, what's the point of a psychotherapist? So maybe, what the NHS do is right. There's no point in psychotherapy unless you have a mind that works to a certain extent. That's why CBT therapy is good. But you have to have a functioning brain. When I say functioning brain, I mean a brain well enough to function and reason and put the you're given tasks, and you're given a way of thinking that will help you, especially with phobias and things like that. But if you're depressed, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what tasks you're given, you won't do them. It doesn't matter what blueprint they'll give you. You won't approach your problems in the way that they want you to. Like, this is the fix. Just think this way, and you can stop the negative loop. So anyway, so the question is psychotherapy actually worth it? Because I was thinking, now that I don't have any money, I need psychotherapy. And then when I have money, I don't need it. So basically, when you're sick, you need good therapy, this psychotherapy. But when your mind is okay, when you think straight, that's when you have enough money. You okay?
I just keep coughing. There's not enough air in here.
Oh, okay. Open the window then.
It's so loud.
Yeah, I know. So, and like, when you don't have, usually when you don't have enough money, what I'm trying to say is when you don't have enough money is when you need it the most. But then I'm thinking, do you really need it? Is it really that necessary? So that's what I've been thinking about. Because when you're mentally well, you're well enough to get a job. You're well enough to succeed in the business or whatever you're doing. And that's when money comes in, right? And usually you're not going to think about, oh, I need a psychotherapist, I need to go into therapy. That's what I'm thinking. But when your mind is so broken, that you can't do anything, that's when you need maybe therapy. I would have thought. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud, my thoughts. And so I'm back to the point about medication. I didn't take medication like for a day, and I started to feel bad already. The weather affects me more. What my wife says to me affects me more. So I know all I have to take is that bloody tablet. Not the full dose, because then I'll be like Superman. It's like that film, what was it called? Not Indestructible, what was it called? Limitless. It's really similar to that. You feel like you're unbeatable. Everything is clear. You can think logically, maybe not too emotionally. And it's like you're superhuman. People have said, I have to stop that. People have said that they've taken Paxil or Seroxat and it hasn't worked for them. They felt worse. For me, it just fits like a perfect glove. It's just like the missing piece of a jigsaw puzzle. That's the problem. It works too well. You know, some people might say, well, if it works well, why did you stop it? Because I'm afraid of poop out. Poop out happens. What that means is the medicine poops out suddenly. So then you're stuck with withdrawal and the return of the depression. And it returns with a vengeance as well, because basically you're in withdrawal. So then you have to take other medication, you know, medication that maybe focuses on, stimulates other neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, maybe, I don't know what the process is, but I think it's something like that. More specifically, do I need psychotherapy? Maybe I don't. Because I know when everything is okay, when I'm on the full dose, not full dose, but on the dose of medication where I feel happy, not elated, not every day jumping around, you know, high, but I mean happy enough to not allow these small setbacks to affect me so much and go into depression and cry and worry and, you know, be kind of stuck all the time. You know, I think I don't need psychotherapy. I know what my depression is. I know things about my past, and yes, it's interesting to know about, you know, trauma and, you know, trying to unravel this trauma and trying to heal. Yeah, it's all interesting, but without the medication, you're still gonna be depressed. So I might have to just increase my dose and just take a dose that positively affect my depression, or bring it into remission, you know, and I can be happy and healthy and live my life normally, as normal as I can. So I don't know what you guys think about this. Is psychotherapy necessary, you know, to heal, to be happy? Or is it a case of, nope, you have a chemical imbalance and you have to take medication. If you don't take medication, you'll feel depressed. If you take it, you won't. It's as simple as that. I'm coming to that conclusion that, you know, I'm a kind of person who wants to be healthy. I don't even want to take a bloody Panadol, aspirin, anything like that. You know, I don't want to take antihistamines. You know, I want to do things naturally, you know, clean the house, keep away from the dogs, the dog dander, keep them clean, you know, instead of taking an antihistamine. You know, so in this period where there's divorce and, you know, separation, I have to leave the house, I have to find some kind of benefit, because I don't know. I think there are some benefits that actually help with dogs as well, because, you know, some people might say, well, why do you get the dogs in the first place? But if you inherit those dogs whilst you're in this depressive state, you know, maybe there's some kind of benefit, you know, some dog charity or something that can help me look after the dogs, or maybe can sponsor the dogs, you know, maybe I can adopt them, they can adopt them in some way, and then help me to look after the dogs. I don't know. I don't think there's a benefit for dogs, but you never know, and I have to find all this stuff out. Obviously, if I can work and look after the dogs and myself, you know, through the YouTube channel and selling, you know, maybe digital products, and then I don't need anything, then I can do it all myself. That would be, you know, the best solution. So that's what I'm aiming for. And so in this period, I think I might need a hand. I've avoided it for a long time, but now I know there's no help for me. My wife isn't going to help me. Any chance she gets, you know, any any money that I get, she'll take away from me. And I can't fight for myself. That's the problem. In this state, where my mind is weak, and yeah, I think taking the medication gives me that superpower. Gives me the strength, the mental strength to fight. Well, not fight, but to not be so down and think about my life and making goals and doing positive things, thinking more positively. So in this period, I think I'm going to need to move, just to step up the drug. I know it will help, but then I feel sad because then in the maybe not too distant future, in the new future, when I want to taper off, I'm gonna have to go through that phase. From, say, I'm on 5 milligrams now, so if I go on to 7.5 or whatever, 10 milligrams, then I'm gonna have to feel the pain. I'm coming from that 10 milligram down. It's taken me so long to come down from 15 milligrams to 5. It took about 9 years, 8, 9 years. I'm gonna have to do that all again. I didn't want to do that. I've been fighting not to do that, but I think I need to. I need to step up. Which means I'm gonna have to come down again at some point. Anyway. So, do we need therapy or not? I don't know. I've got no idea. I think personally, for me, I just need the drug, and then everything falls into place. If you needed therapy, then coming off the medication. You see, if I come off the medication, no amount of therapy is going to help me. It's all interesting. It's all, you can have the top expert on the planet, talking to me, and the top psychotherapist. Yeah, it's really good. It's really interesting. But then you have to, after the therapy is over, you have to go out into the big, wide world, into society or whatever. And real life happens. And it's not going to help you there. I suppose some therapists will say, okay, well, take some medication and do some therapy. Yeah, as I said, that might be interesting, but, and you might go to a therapist and or a hypnotherapist or whatever, and sort all your childhood traumas out. But once you come off the medication, that neurotransmitter isn't there, and no matter what you do, it's going to make hell out of heaven. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, you're going to collapse. Your world collapses because this collapses. If this is not working, then the manager or the boss is not there anymore. All hell breaks loose. So anyway, those are my thoughts today about therapy. Do we need therapy? How important is therapy really? And I suppose I've made my mind up. Not totally, but I think it's not important. It only helps those, that have got money. Those of us who don't have any money have to rely on the NHS. And what you have available is really poor. CBT, peer-to-peer support, counseling. Oh yeah, I have to tell you about that one. I'm happy for the guy that he actually spoke to me in a moment where I was feeling terrible, but it didn't do nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. I told him that I was on Seroxat. He said, "What's that?" I realized I was dealing with some person who has a script and then talks to me, and it's just so robotic. They don't have depression, they don't have anxiety. Yes, they can empathize, and they've got their certain skills. They've studied psychotherapy or whatever, psychiatry or whatever they've studied, counseling, bloody certificate, but they don't even know the basics of, what people are going through. They don't even know. The guy didn't even know what Seroxat was. So then I gave him like examples of some newer drugs, Wellbutrin, sertraline. He still didn't know. Then he gave me names of some that are maybe the latest ones. There's a few other things apart from that. A few other things that he I said, for example, we were talking about goals, and I said, yeah, sure, it's good to make goals, but I said, in my case, in many people's case, you get that period of hedonic adaptation. He didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Yeah, sorry guys, my camera just switched off because no battery, or is it no space? Yeah, so so he didn't know what I was talking about. I was talking about something to do with. I just said, because of hedonic adaptation, or sorry guys, this thing keeps switching off. So I was saying to him, about hedonic adaptation, and he didn't understand what I was talking about. Yeah, as I was saying, you get what you pay for. It's not just that. There's lots of things he didn't understand, so I wasn't too impressed. Anyway, my battery's just about to finish again.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me. Now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs.